Welcome everybody to Headlock Field, where today's matchup is between the visiting Cheverus Stags and the Portland Bulldogs. Coming into this game, Portland coming off a loss to Thornton Academy, who's one of the favorites to win the Class A championship for baseball. It was a scoreline of 8-3. Portland kept it close through 4, but allowed 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th to lose 8-3. And so for Portland, coming off of a 6-game winning streak, has lost 2 straight. Close game to Gorham, and a loss to the Hut, one loss Thornton Academy team. So Portland's looking to come back and get a win before the playoffs start. But they'll be coming in with a batting order of Colby Winship, Anthony Bisco, Henry Bebeau, Grant Crosby, Andrew Legere, Andrew Brewer, Mason Rang, James Jignack, and Carter Page. On the other hand, coming into this game, Cheverus has won 3 straight games. And their last game was against Deering, where they won 12-0 in 5 innings. They had 2 innings especially where their bats came alive. They scored 5 in the first inning and 7 in the 4th inning to make it 12-0. Kevin Conley pitched a 1-hitter, facing the minimum 15 batters, seeing that it went only 5 innings. And so they moved to a record of 7-7. So they're right neck and neck in the standings with Portland. But they'll be coming in with a batting order of Richard Tremble, Noah Kennedy Jensen, Brian Conley, Kevin Conley, Orion Giebord, Braden Watson, Jacob Lucier, Peyton Mitchell, and Christopher Murphy. So, with this game being the last home game for Portland, it's senior night, but they also are going to recognize the seniors for Cheverus. Those seniors are Richard Tremble, Brett Bogzan, Kevin Conley, Orion Giebord, Braden Watson, Matthew Johnson, and Braden Smith. And so now they're going to recognize the seniors for Portland and the traditional picture with the flower.
They have shown tremendous resiliency and diligence through the last 4 seasons. These student athletes have represented.
And Seth, they have a large graduating class from this team, don't they?
Yes, and most of them are the starters. So it shows you why Portland has been a really good team this year, with most of their starters being seniors.
Please come forward to accept a small token of our program's gratitude for your support. Beginning with the Portland seniors, number 1 is Anthony Bisco.
And so first player is Anthony Bisco, and he's going to be represented by his mother Gretchen. And others, but they're not listed, so.
Number 2 is Aiden DeMillo.
Next player is Aiden DeMillo.
Represented today by his mother Paula, his mother Sarah, his stepfather Harlan, his aunt and uncle Number 3 is Connor Page.
Next player is Carter Page.
Connor is represented this afternoon by his mother Debbie, his father Bob.
He's represented by his mother Debbie, father Robert, and Molly, his sister.
So the sheet of paper that Seth has been given doesn't have a complete list of names, so we apologize for that.
Next player is James Jignack,
by his mother Tiara,
and he's being represented
his stepfather Darren,
by
his sister
Tiara and Jerome.
Number 6 is Dominic Moffo.
Next player is Dominic Moffo,
Dom is represented today by his mother Christina and his
and
sister Amanda.
he's being represented by Christina, his mother, and Amanda, his sister.
Number 9 is Mason Ray.
Next player is Mason Rang,
Mason is represented this afternoon by his mother Judy
and
his
he's
father
represented
Skip.
by his mother Judith and his father Skip.
Number 11 is Colby Winship,
Next player is Colby Winship,
represented by his mother Liz, his father Kevin, and his brother Nick.
and he's being represented by his mother Liz, his father Kevin, and his brother Nick.
Number 17 is Liam Winship,
Next player is Liam Winship,
represented by his mother Erica and his father Dan.
he's being represented by his mother Erica and his father Dan.
Number 18 is Andrew Legere.
Next player is Andrew Legere,
Andrew is represented today by his mother Chris, his father Jerry, his sister
He's being
Katie, his grandparents Bill
represented
and
by
Cheverus.
Chris, his mother, and his father Jerry.
And other members of the family.
Number 21 is Ryan Becker.
Next player is Ryan Becker.
Ryan is represented today by his mother Rachel, his father Lance, his brother Nick, and his grandmother Roberta.
And he's being represented by his mother Rachel, his father Lance, his brother Nick, and his grandmother Roberta.
Number 22 is Grant Crosby.
And the last player is Grant Crosby.
This afternoon by his mother Peggy, his father Ron, his stepmother Pam, his stepfather Steve, and his sister Taylor.
And he's being represented by his mother Peggy, his father Ron, his sister Taylor, and his step-parents. And it's always a great accomplishment to graduate high school,
We thank the seniors
studying hard for 4 years, but also playing hard in baseball for 4 years.
We wish you all the very best
And so
endeavors. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give them one more.
this is their last regular season game as a member of the Portland Bulldogs. But hopefully it's not their second to last game and they can go far in the playoffs. And so we'll be right back for the start of the game.
And on the bases, Mr. Gary. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we would ask that you please rise as we honor America and those who protect her with the playing of our national anthem.
Setting Portland defensively. In the outfield, left to right, is Aiden DeMillo, Carter Page, and Andrew Brewer. In the infield, left to right, is Mason Rang, Henry Bebeau, Anthony Bisco, and Grant Crosby. Behind the plate is James Jignack, and the starting pitcher for Portland is Colby Winship. Here we go for the start of the game. Leading things off for Cheverus is Richard Tremble. First pitch is up high.
Well, and the weather held off today. It was a little foggy and drizzly this afternoon, but we're going to get the game in because Portland graduates tomorrow.
And it's hit foul. It's a 1-1 count.
And I have to say, we were just here on yesterday, and it's 30 degrees cooler today.
And it's in there for strike two. Must have painted the corner of the strike zone because that was up pretty high. It's high for ball two. And it's hit foul as it takes a bounce foul. It had a lot of spin on it.
Yeah, and if it had spun the other way, I mean, I think he could have made it to first base because it was in between the pitcher and the catcher.
And that's ripped foul.
Wow, he got all of that, but he just pulled it. He was way out in front of that one.
Count's still 2-2. It's up high for ball three. And that's fouled back. Remains 3-2 count.
Well, we got a little battle going here. The first batter of the game.
3-2 pitch is on the inside corner of the plate for strike 3.
Well, and the first win here of that battle goes to Winship.
So that brings up Noah Kennedy Jensen. And it's a swing and a miss for strike 1.
Beautiful pitch.
And that's hit to Bisco. He fields it, fires to first for the second out. So 2 away for Cheverus. Brings up Brian Conley. And you can definitely tell after the first batter, Winship's definitely throwing the ball lower on the plate. Low for ball 1. Low for ball 2. And that's ripped foul. And that's...
It made it over the stands, didn't it?
That hit the tree that's right behind the general mission runoff stands. It's down low for ball 3. It's a 3-1 count.
So in high school ball, they reuse baseballs. So I'm not sure if someone will go track that down.
And that's hit to Rang. He fires over. It's a one-hop, and Crosby snags it for the third out.
And you really got to love a first baseman that helps his third baseman out on a throw in the ground. Beautiful play.
And so it's a 1-2-3 inning for Portland. And after half an inning, it's Cheverus 0, Portland coming up. Setting Cheverus defensively in the outfield left to right is Peyton Mitchell, Richard Tremble, and Noah Kennedy Jensen. In the infield left to right is Jacob Lucier, Brian Connolly, Christopher Murphy, and Orion Giebord. Behind the plate is Braden Smith, and the starting pitcher for Cheverus is Kevin Conley. Here we go for the bottom of the first. Leading things off for Portland is Colby Winship. And Winship hits it out to Mitchell in left for the first out. So 1 pitch, 1 out.
The second baseman, number 1, Anthony Bisco.
So that brings up Anthony Bisco. It's high and outside for ball 1. And Bisco hits it out to left where Mitchell gets the second out. So far only 3 pitches have been thrown by Kevin Conley. And so Henry Bebeau coming up with 2 outs. It's down the middle for strike 1.
And Bebeau's been, the last few games, he's been hitting the ball pretty well.
And that's hit in foul territory and just out of the glove of Giebord.
That would have been a nice catch. That would have been a highlight, but just out of the reach. He tried his hardest.
So it's an 0-2 count. And that's hit foul. Remains an 0-2 count. And that's swing and a miss for strike 3. So a 7-pitch 1-2-3 inning for Kevin Conley. And so after one complete, it's Cheverus 0, Portland 0. Here we go for the top of the second. Leading things off is Kevin Conley.
Oh,
And
nice.
it drops over the plate for strike 1.
Nice pitch.
And that drops over the outside corner of the plate for strike 2. And a swing and a miss, but it's dropped by Gignac, who fires to first to get the out. So one away on a strikeout.
Yeah, and throwing down to first is always an adventure.
Baseman number 14, Orion Giebord.
And so that brings up Orion Giebord. Low and inside for ball 1. And that's popped up. And it's just into the stands. Foul. So it's a 1-1 count. And that's hit into left center, where Page runs it down for the second out.
Way to go. Great hustle. His teammate, they tap gloves.
The designated hitter number 15, Braden Watson.
And he probably ran around 45 feet, maybe a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I think maybe on a next station upgrade we'll have to do StatCast.
And it's hit in foul territory, and it's close enough to the fence where Crosby didn't want to hit the fence and reach out. So it's a 0-2 count to Braden Watson. And it's a swing and a miss for strike 3. So another 1-2-3 half inning. It's 3 in a row. And so after 1.5 complete, it's Cheverus 0, Portland 0. Here we go for the bottom of the second. Leading things off is Grant Crosby. And it's on the inside corner for strike 1. Low for ball 1. It's a 1-1 count. And it's a foul tip for strike 2. It's a 1-2 count. It's in the dirt for ball 2. 2-2 count. And that's a dribbler to Legere. And
Oh, he's got to get back to the bag. He made the turn. Okay.
And he signals safe, but he slipped.
Well, and as I said earlier, it had been cloudy and drizzly, not really foggy, but just drizzly weather. And so that grass is wet. But he had to kind of hustle back to first base because once you round, they can tag you out.
And so that brings up Andrew Legere. And so it was called a hit by Crosby.
Well, it was definitely a hit. And because Crosby didn't make it to second, there was no error.
And it's a close play at first.
Well, and he's going to have to be careful because the way this game's going, you got a couple of good pitchers out there that are, one run could be it.
It's outside for ball 2. It's a 2-0 count. And Legere hits it to Conley, and Christopher Murphy tried to get it on the low throw, but it's going to be an error on Brian Conley. So Portland with 2 runners on now with Andrew Brewer up.
And nobody out.
And
It's
Brewer hits it up. It's in foul territory. And Kevin Conley calls everybody off to get the first out.
How often do you see a pitcher do that? Usually the pitcher defers to the first baseman or the catcher. But Conley said, no, this is my game. That's my ball.
So that brings up Mason Rang. It's outside for ball 1. So Portland has a prime opportunity to put a run on the board. And it was a swing by Rang, who tried to hold the bat up, making it a 1-1 count. It's up high for ball 2. It's a 2-1 count. And that's a dribbler to Murphy, who can't get it out of his hand quick enough.
That had trouble. The way he swung at the ball was like self-protection. It came off the handle. It was a little dribbler, and it was everything that second baseman tried to do. But it was like it was in slow motion.
So that brings up James Gignac with the bases loaded, and it's pass ball, but not far enough for the runners to advance.
Yeah, so Portland now with 1 out with bases loaded.
It's up high for ball 2. And it's a pop-up in the infield. Lucier calls everyone off, and it's dropped. But it's an infield fly roll.
Wow. So two very high pop-ups here for Portland.
And Carter Page up with 2 outs.
Well, and those 2 batters, they hit it far, but they hit it straight up.
And that's hit out to Trimble in center, and he runs in and gets the 3rd out. So Portland had a prime opportunity to take the lead, but Kevin Conley battles back, and it's one of those things where you just got to tip your cap to the pitcher and try to get it on the next time.
Yeah, you know, I mean, with one out, they had bases loaded, got another pop-up, and then a fly to center. Couldn't have been any easier.
And so after 2 complete, it's Cheverus 0, Portland 0. Here we go for the top of the third. Jacob Lucier leading things off for Cheverus. And it's a roller to Rang, who fires over to get the first out.
Wow, that was really good. That took a kind of a bad hop, and Rang stayed with it. It looks like it kind of bounced around a little bit in his glove, but he got a hold of it and threw him out. Nice play.
So that brings up Peyton Mitchell with 1 out. It's on the inside corner for strike 1.
Yeah, and like I said last inning, the way this game's going, you have to have plays that Rang just did.
It's a swing and a miss for strike 2. And it looked like Mitchell thought it was going to be on the inside part of the plate, and it fell on the outside part of the plate, and it's a pop-up where Gignac almost gets to the ball, but it was just a fingertip away.
Well, and as a pitcher, you really have to be thankful for a catcher that's willing to just lay himself out there to try to get that ball.
And so Mitchell stays alive. And that's hit foul. And that's hit to Babo. He fires over for the second out. And so that brings up Christopher Murphy with 2 outs.
Number 17, Chris Murphy.
It's over the outside corner of the plate for strike 1. It's up high for ball 1. So 1-1 count. It's fouled back for strike 2. 1-2 count. It's in the dirt for ball 2. It's a 2-2 count. And it's a swing and a miss for strike 3. So that's 4 Ks on the day for Winship. And it was another 1-2-3 inning. And after that first batter where he threw all those high pitches, Winship has definitely settled down in this game. And so after 2.5 complete, it's Cheverus 0, Portland 0. Here we go for the bottom of the third. Leading things off is Colby Winship. It's in there for strike 1. Last time up, he lined it out to the left fielder. It's up high for ball one. It's a 1-1 count. It's right down the middle for strike two. 1-2 count. And it's hit to Murphy and throws it over to first for the first out. And that brings up Anthony Bisco. Last time up, flew out to the left fielder. It's in there for strike one. Swing and a miss for strike two.
Yeah, I was way out in front on that pitch.
It's an 0-2 count. And its time was called. And that's hit foul down the first baseline. Remains an 0-2 count. Outside for ball one. It's a 1-2 count. It's high and outside for ball two. And that's ripped down the right field line, and it's going to be fair, and it one hops the wall. And Bisco is going to go three, and he dives, and he's out. So nice relay.
Well, everything had to be perfect there for Cheverus, and it was. Wow.
The shortstop, number 33, Henry Bebeau.
So that brings up Henry Bebeau, who fouls it back.
Well, I'll tell you, last inning and this inning, Portland with a chance. And you really can't fault Bisco. I mean,
It's down low for ball one.
that ball was hit. The right field had to run pretty far. Everything had to be perfect, as I said, and it was for Cheverus. And it's really unfortunate for Bisco because, that bag was his, short of perfection.
1-2 count. And it's hit to Legere, who fires over to get the third out.
Well, and Cheverus, the last two innings, they've dodged potential runs.
And so after three complete, it's Cheverus 0, Portland 0. Here we go for the top of the fourth. Leading things off is Richard Tremble. And Tremble hits it out to left center, where Page calls DeMillo off to get the first out.
The right fielder, number 6, Noah Kennedy Jensen.
And that brings up Noah Kennedy Jensen, who grounded out to the second baseman. In there for strike one. Didn't have time to say that Tremble struck out looking for one of the strikeouts Winship has. Up high for ball one. It's a 1-1 count. And that's hit to Rang. And he fires over, and Crosby gets it on a one hop.
Well, you know, there Crosby again is saving his third baseman. But when you're the first baseman, you're kind of expected to do that on an ongoing basis.
And that's how Major League first basemen earn gold gloves, is on those one hoppers. And that's a pop up where Crosby calls everybody off to get the third out. And that was Brian Conley. And so another 1-2-3 inning for Winship. That's 4 on the day. And so after 3.5 complete, it's Cheverus 0, Portland 0. Here we go for the bottom of the fourth. Leading things off for Portland is Grant Crosby. Last time up, got a single. It's inside for ball one. And Crosby hits it out to Jensen in right, and he tracks it down for the first out. That brings up Andrew Legere. Last time reached on an error by the shortstop. That's a hit foul. It's an 0-1 count. And that's hit foul, or it's just in the stance. It's an 0-2 count. And that's just foul.
Well, we've seen some hard hit balls by both teams so far this game that have gone foul.
It's up high for ball one. It's a 1-2 count. And that's over the head of Legere, and it's going to be a long single by Legere.
Well, and that's a good start here in the bottom of the fourth.
And that brings up Andrew Brewer. And it's a check, and it's by Giebord. And so Legere takes second on a throwing error by Kevin Conley.
Yeah, and that's a tough one. You know, in a tight game like this.
So Portland with another running and scoring position. And that's a line drive to Tremble in center.
Boy, that ball almost, you know, I'm looking through a small screen here. That ball almost looked like it wanted to drop in, but it just seemed to keep rising.
So Mason Rang is up with 2 outs. Legere on at second. And it's a foul.
Well, and Legere, he tracked the ball because, you know, you really have to keep track of that so you're not too far off the bag if it happened to be caught, which it was.
And it's fouled for strike 2.
So, Portland with another opportunity. They've had opportunities the last 3 innings. Bases loaded in the second. A runner thrown out at third in the third, and now a runner on at second base in the fourth.
And Rang hits it foul to stay alive. It's an 0-2 count still. And it's a swing and a miss on a high pitch for strike 3. And so, once again, Portland hasn't had an opportunity to score and didn't. And so, after 4 complete, it's Cheverus 0, Portland 0. Here we go for the top of the 5th. Leading things off is Kevin Conley. And that's hit to Crosby, who will tag the first base bag for the first out. And that brings up Orion Giebord. It's up high for ball 1. It's a swing and a miss for strike 1.
That was a nice pitch.
It's a 1-1 count. It's in the dirt for ball 2. It's a 2-1 count. And that's hit to Babo. He slips a little, fires over, and still gets the out.
Oh, that's, you know, you love those magical plays right there. And that was. Nice play, Henry.
And so that brings up Braden Watson.
And when you're Winship, you got to love that play too, considering the way he's pitching.
It's a foul ball for strike 1. Last time up, Watson struck out, swinging. And that's a one-hopper to Babo. He fires over and gets the out.
Oh, man.
So 2 great outs by Babo at shortstop. And it's another 1-2-3 inning for Portland. And so after 4.5 innings, it's Cheverus 0, Portland 0. Here we go for the bottom of the 5th. Leading things off is James Gignac. And that's hit to Brian Conley, who fires over for the first out.
Boy, we are seeing, I mean, you know, these are routine plays, but, you know, we're seeing some really good pitching and some really good quick play to this ball game.
So that brings up Carter Page with 1 out. It's on the inside corner for strike 1. Last time up, flew out to the center fielder. It's fouled back for strike 2. It's an 0-2 count.
Nice play. Nice play by the fan down there. The ball hit up in the stands, a couple of bounces. She reached behind her head, and
it's it was hit and stopped right in front of Kevin Conley, and he fires over to first for the second out.
Yeah, you like to see those on a golf course. You know, flip up from 100 yards out on the hole and just stop right in front of the hole, but not on a baseball field.
And so that brings up Colby Winship, who gets a hit. was hit to left field.
Yeah, that was one of those in between. The left fielder played that ball right. There's 2 outs here. You don't want to dive for it or try to make a spectacular play because if it gets past you, Winship's going to be running for a while. So a good heads-up play with 2 outs.
And so that brings up Anthony Bisco. And Winship is checked on. Last time up, Bisco hit a double and was thrown out at third. And that's hit to Murphy, who flips over to Brian Conley for the 3rd out. And so Cheverus minimizes the 2-out single by Winship to keep the score even. And so after 5 complete, it's Cheverus nothing, Portland nothing. Here we go for the top of the 6th. Leading things off for Cheverus is Jacob Lucier. It's a swing and a miss for strike 1. Swing and a miss for strike 2.
Wow, Winship is really has the Cheverus team fooled on the way he's pitching today.
And it's a dribbler foul. So it remains 0-2 count. In these quick half innings, as a pitcher, you like because you're not sitting too long. But both pitchers are probably thinking that they want longer half innings to score runs. And that's hit out to right center where Brewer runs it down. So 1 away for Cheverus, bringing up Peyton Mitchell.
The left fielder, number 4, Peyton Mitchell.
It's up high for ball 1.
Yep, Mitchell looked like he was going to swing at it, but held up.
It's down the middle for strike 1. It's a 1-1 count. It's a foul off of Jignak's helmet. It's a 1-2 count.
And the ump is giving Jignac a little courtesy here, walking the baseball out to Winship just to make sure that Jignac's okay. Patting him on the back like, here we go. Take a deep breath.
And it's fouled. Remains a 1-2 count.
These umpires in high school ball, very nice.
And another foul to stay alive. Outside for ball 2. And that's hit out to Page, where he doesn't have to move much to get the 2nd out.
Well, and I have to say, Cheverus have been...
Batting for Murphy, number 11, Jackson Ostermeyer.
And Daxon Osterman is batting for Christopher Murphy. See if Cheverus can change the fortunes of their bats. And it's in there for strike one. It's up high. It's a 1-1 count.
Yeah, I think at this point, that they are trying to change things up.
And that's hit to Jigneck or Bibeau, and gets him.
Oh, another beautiful play by Crosby, helping out his teammates there, whether it's scooping the ball up or jumping to get it and coming back down on the bag. He's having a great game.
And Bibeau hugged Crosby, saying thank you for covering up for my mistake. And so after 5.5 complete, it's Cheverus 0, Portland 0. Here we go for the bottom of the 6th. Henry Bibeau leading things off for Portland. And that's ripped by Legere for a leadoff hit.
Well, and that's what Portland needs here. In the bottom of the 6th is a leadoff hit. But I have to say, another few inches out there for the third baseman, and he would have snagged that. But it was a hard hit ball. And it could have been a great play. Just happened to be a good thing for Bibeau.
So that brings up Grant Crosby. And it's hit. And it's going to just roll foul.
Oh, and at the temptation to pick that ball up and throw the runner out, and he waited and waited, because at that point, you might as well wait it out and see which way it's going to go, because the runner was going to be safe on first. So a lot of patience there.
So it's an 0-1 count. It's in the dirt for ball 1.
And, and that was a good stop by the catcher. And at this point, he's got to keep everything in front of him. Bibeau's got a good lead.
And dives back.
But the pitcher for Cheverus has already thrown one away, so he's got to be careful too.
And a time called by Crosby.
Yeah, right now, this late in the game, going to be a lot of cat and mouse going on.
And Crosby hits it to left center, and it drops in there.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
I'm not sure if it was miscommunication or no one could get to it, but it drops in between Mitchell, Tremble, and Brian Conley.
Yeah, that would have been a tough catch for any of them. It just had to be put in a perfect spot, and it was. And now we're going to have a visit to the mound. And we'll be back. All right, so the mound visit's over. A lot of strategy being talked out there.
And so 2 hits puts 2 on for Portland with Andrew Legere up, and he hits it foul down the third baseline.
Well, and the first baseman was playing way in on the grass. I think they were expecting a bunt, but Legere is like, no, if I drive this down the line, that's going to be a good one, and it was just foul. We'll see if he tries to bunt this one.
And that's hit out to right center, and that's by Tremble, and that's going to score 2. We'll see how many Legere gets, and he gets held up at third for a triple.
Wow. I think they were playing for the bunt, and Legere said, I'm a hitter. And he showed he's a hitter. Wow. That is amazing.
And so Portland breaks the game open.
And we're going to have a pinch runner.
And it's Aiden DeMillo, who's pinch running for Legere.
And are we going to have a pitching change? Yes. Number 5 is coming in.
And we'll be back to sort out all the changes. So, a couple changes. Matthew Connor is in relief for Kevin Conley, and Kevin Conley is now catching for Braden Smith. And batting is Andrew Brewer. It's on the inside corner for strike 2. And Aiden DeMillo is on at third for Andrew Legere. 1-2 count. And it's a swing and a miss for strike 3. So that's 1 away, bringing up Mason Rang. It's fouled.
So Portland with a chance with 1 out here to get another run in, but the Cheverus infielders are all on the lip of the grass.
And it's in the dirt for ball 1. It's a 1-1 count.
And it looks like Bobo has gone out there to warm up a little bit. Whether he comes in to pitch or not is one thing, but maybe he's just getting his arm warmed up a little bit just in case.
And it's ripped foul for strike 2. It's a 1-2 count. It's in the dirt for ball 2. It's a 2-2 count. And it's in there for strike 3. So 2 Ks puts 2 away. So that brings up James Gignac. It's outside for ball 1.
And both middle infielders are back on the lip of the outfield grass with 2 outs.
And that's off the bat of Gignac. Foul.
Yeah, check swing. You know, and sometimes a check swing will get past an infielder.
It's a 1-1 count. It's up high for ball 2. It's a 2-1 count. And that's hit foul into the stands. So it'll be a 2-2 count. So Connor is one strike away from getting out of this inning. And it's a swing and a miss for strike 3. So Matthew Connor comes in and strikes out 3 straight batters to minimize the damage to only 2 runs. But Portland, after many innings of knocking on the door, kicks the door down and gets 2. And so after 6 complete, it's Portland 2, Cheverus nothing. Here we go for the top of the 7th. Leading things off for Cheverus is Richard Tremble. Cheverus down to 3 outs to work with, and that's a pop-up. And Crosby tracks it down. Has to take a few steps backwards, but gets the first out. So, with 1 out, that brings up Noah Kennedy Jensen. And that's hit to Rang. He fires over, and that's the first hit. For Cheverus, that breaks up the no-hitter.
And the official scorer has given that a hit. So, Winship 2 outs away from a no-hitter. But at this point, he'll take the win. So it's nice to have a no-hitter, but it would be better to have a win against your crosstown rival other than Deering.
And so that brings up Brian Conley.
And Winship has to remember the runner on first at this point doesn't matter. He's got to get the batters out.
And that's on the outside corner for strike 1. So it's a 1-1 count. And that's up the middle. And Bisco pops out of his glove, but grabs it with his hand and flips it to Bebeau to get the lead runner.
Nice play out there by Bisco. You know, Winship's got to be so happy with the way his infielders have played this game. And now they're doing the shift. Shift in high school baseball right there, folks.
And Kevin Conley is up with 2 outs. Brian Conley on at first with a pretty decent lead. It's up high for ball 1, and the throw by Jignac was high.
And there was a collective holding of everyone's breath on the Portland side on that one, as the ball got away a little bit.
And that hits
Ooh.
Kevin Conley. So that puts the tying run on the base path.
And we're going to have to see here what's going to happen. I think we're going to have a short leash here on Winship. We may have some people moving around. Let's see. And Bebeau was warming up in between innings, so I think Bebeau's coming in. And it looks like the catcher is not going to be catching.
And we'll sort out all the changes right after this. And we're back. So James Gignac goes from catcher to third. Anthony Bisco goes from second to short. Ryan Becker comes into the game to catch. Henry Bebeau goes from short to relief pitcher. And Ethan Terrio is at second. And it looked like it was going to be a hit and run, but it was fouled by Orion Giebord.
That was pretty amazing. A hit and run with 2 outs here at the bottom of the 7th, and you're down 2-0.
It's ball 1.
Wow, that was a gutsy call.
It's a swing and a miss for strike 2. So Cheverus down to their last strike. And it's called time as Becker goes out to talk to Bebeau. And Bebeau checks on the runner at second. And it's outside for ball 2.
Ooh, that was too close to take, but the batter did, and it was called a ball. Wow.
And it's hit foul down the third baseline. So it remains a 2-2 count.
Good little battle here.
And it's another check on Brian Conley. And that's hit out to left. And Brian Conley was sent, and that puts a run on the board for Cheverus.
Well, well.
So an RBI single makes it a 1-run game. Bringing up Braden Watson. It's in the dirt for ball 1.
And Becker's got to be perfect back there. Nothing can get by him.
And it's going to be a chat at the mound.
Yeah, it's got, right now it's got to be deep breath time. And we'll be back.
And we're back. See what happens after the mound visit. It's on the upper part of the strike zone for strike 1.
Wow. That's a gift pitch right there for Bebeau.
It's in the dirt for ball 2.
You know, and Becker's coming into this game cold. It's not like he's caught this whole game.
And it's a pop-up. Brewer calls everybody off, and that's your ball game. And Portland definitely made it interesting
Wow.
in the top of the 7th. But Portland ultimately gets the win. And so Portland will go into the playoffs with a win.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't make it easy on themselves here in the top of the 7th, but what a great game. You know, we saw some great pitching, some great fielding. It's really, really amazing. And, you know, and Winship retired the first 19 batters he faced in this ball game. And, you know, what a great game he pitched. And we've seen him pitch a number of times this season, and today was exceptional.
And so Portland gets a 2-1 victory, allowing 2 hits, and they got 8. And saying so long. This has been a production of TV3 Portland Public Schools, saying good night.